welcome to the Art of Franchise Marketing. Each episode takes a deep dive into the franchise space and explores how the biggest and best brands handle national branding, franchise development, employee recruitment, and localized marketing on a daily basis. This podcast is brought to you by NetCertive, a localized digital marketing partner for franchise networks. NetCertive talks shop with franchise executives to discuss what's working, what's not, and answers the question, what else can you be doing to excel at the art of franchise marketing?
Hello, and welcome to the Art of Franchise Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Erin Martin, and this episode's brought to you by NetCertive. Today, our guest is Katherine LeBlanc, the SVP of Marketing for Forever Young Anti-Aging Solutions. Katherine, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Erin. It's nice to be here with you.
When we jump in, we'd like to ask if you can give our listeners some background about you and your current role.
Yeah, no problem. Hey guys, my name is Katherine. I've been in marketing for the last 20 years, the last 10 of which have been in franchising. I've been at multiple brands and multiple concepts over the course of those 10 years, starting at Smoothie King, which is based in my hometown of New Orleans, and then going over to Painting with a Twist, which became Twist Brands. That includes Painting with a Twist and Color Me Mine, and then went to Small Sliders, a startup that started in Baton Rouge. And then I served as a fractional CMO for a number of years with a number of brands and have now landed at Forever Young, where I'm now full-time again, serving as their VP of Marketing, as you mentioned.
Awesome. So what initiatives do you guys have underway for this year?
Yeah, what don't we have underway? Forever Young is at a really exciting time in the brand's history right now. Every brand goes through a life cycle and really needs to evolve to stay relevant to their prospects and their what we call patients. And so we're at a really awesome inflection point. The brand has been around for about 10 years. We've been franchising since 2019. And so in that, the space that we exist in has evolved significantly. A lot of it driven by the effects of COVID and what we all went through in COVID. And so it's a really interesting point of time to be not only part of the brand, but also in this industry. And when I say this industry, it means the med spa wellness industry, the longevity industry. So as you said in our name, Forever Young Anti-Aging Solutions, it's really encompassing all of the things that individuals might need to address as they reach their next aging phase in life. And our target audience is folks that are 35 plus, and we offer a number of services that apply both to men and women, and a broad range that applies to the way you look on the outside, but also the way you feel on the inside. With that combination, and with where the med spa aesthetics and wellness industry is in 2025, we are just thrilled about the opportunity and the initiatives that we have going on. And specifically what we're working on is thinking about how do we make sure that we maintain our connection to our patients, not only once they become our patients, but also before they become our patients. And so really looking at how do we talk to them about what they're going through, about their aging process, in a way that resonates with them. And so it's a lot of content development, it's a lot of content testing. The space, even though aesthetics and Botox and med spas have been around for forever, the space really exploded after COVID. And with that, it's very crowded, very saturated. The messaging can get lost. And how do we use our brand and our brand platform to then create messaging that really resonates with the individual? In addition to that, the individual has different needs today than they did 10 years ago when we opened, and making sure that our message stays relevant to those patients. And a lot of what we're doing this year is going to be focused around the right message, getting to the right audience, and then converting them into patients. And then once they become patients of ours, how are we helping them on their journey and making sure that we are satisfying their needs and they want to stay loyal to Forever Young given the saturated market. So that's the big project that we're working on: messaging, strategy, branding, really making a brand that is knowable, likable, and trustable, and bringing that to life in all of the ways that can be brought to life. In addition to that, we have a number of initiatives in place that are going to increase profitability with our franchisees. So that's our number one goal. It's our number one thing that we shoot for anytime that we work on anything, is how are we increasing the profitability and the dollars that our franchisees are taking home every day. That's what we do in franchising, right? We help others make successful business ventures. And a lot of the other initiatives that we're working on are geared towards increasing those lines of profitability. Things from our new product life cycle, bringing in products that are going to buoy our existing products and drive more incremental dollars to the bottom line, introducing new membership programs that will allow for our franchisees to have a really great base of recurring revenue, as well as really getting an infrastructure of support in place so that our franchisees have a leg up in this saturated market. Most folks right now in the med spa industry or the wellness anti-aging industry are one-stop shops or mom and pops that are really focused on building their own entities. And so with our branding presence, how do we give our franchisees a leg up to have a competitive advantage versus the other folks that are out there? And so that's what a lot of our other initiatives are focused on.
Nice. And when I hear both of those or all those initiatives you have, most of it what comes to mind for me is a lot of that customer data, like you're mentioning, of understanding your customer and then where expansion or opportunities are, new products and services. And so how do you guys approach gathering or learning about your customer today, or what ideas do you have on the future to get at that?
Yeah, and I think that's really hard for a lot of individuals in my seat or in corporate world to figure out. Because depending on your industry, you have varying degrees of access to that data. Now, one of the things I love about what we do is that we capture all of that guest data. We have their contact information. We have a lot of their information already captured within that appointment piece. And so we are able to get a viewpoint, and a really specific viewpoint, a non-anecdotal viewpoint on who that person is. And then from there, I think right now we're at the season that a lot of brands are in, as far as we have to be scrappy. And so how do we be scrappy in getting to know our patients when we're not going to launch a nationwide research project to really figure this stuff out?
Yeah.
And so we'll use tools like SurveyMonkey or a simple survey tool to talk to our patients that we have currently. And then we'll use our first party data. Who's hanging out with us on Instagram? What types of people are really responding to our posts and interacting with our pages? Who's on our website? Getting some data around who's on our website. And then taking that a step further and using the internet to figure out, okay, what are the psychographics about this type of person that I really want to dig into so that it can inform our messaging strategy. And I think throughout my career, I'm a guest first, data oriented marketer. And so all marketers really need to put themselves in their end user's shoes and take themselves out of it. It's not about me. It's not about what I think. It's about what that end user thinks. And what are thinking about ways you can get to that end user point of view. And that's some of what we do on a scrappy level, is say, okay, we know who our customers are. Let's go then research on our own what different psychographics and interests they have so that we can be relevant to them. That's a lot of what we'll do with data. Now, I think that data in general, you can have too much data.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you are collecting the data and capturing the data that you can actually make actionable decisions on. And so that is also something that we're not collecting data just for data's sake. We really do want to be thoughtful about what data we're collecting so that we can make those actionable business decisions.
Yeah, especially when it comes to personal data, if you're not going to be using it and securing it in the right way, just don't collect it.
No, and you don't have to. Look, we're all on Google. We all use, not all, but most of us use Chrome for our searching habits. They are collecting a lot of data on our behalf. And so we just, as marketers, need to understand how to leverage it and then leverage it in a way that makes sense for our business.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be able to harness the data once collected. What does that look like for you guys too? I know one thing you're really passionate about is the operational excellence side of things, which I love because that's like the second half of the equation. You can have the vision, you can have all the whole understanding, but devils are in the details. And so for you guys, what is your back-end system, like dashboards or KPIs? Like how do you actually look at some of that data internally?
Yeah, very simply, we're using the tools that are out there like Google, Looker Studio. We are using our ad accounts to really track what's working and what's not working in that sense. And then we are using I call it a POS because I come from the restaurant world, but it's an EHR, electronic health record system. that shows us our business KPIs. And I think that one of the things that can get missed in franchising sometimes is that attention to data in a way that then drives franchisee profitability. And so if you can get into a discipline of collecting the right data and being able to understand when we talk about KPIs, key performance indicators, what are the right KPIs to then make those informed business decisions? And I think that when you're at the corporate level in franchising, you do have a lot of data that you can systemize and create some enterprise reporting and see a big picture view of the business. But you also have to take it a step further and teach your franchisees how to use those data points for their own business. Mm-hmm. And so the early habit of collecting P&Ls, the early habit of training your franchisees to go into your operating system and say, okay, these are the things that you need to look at on a daily basis. And I always go back to how do we drive revenue? We drive revenue through adding new people to our services. We drive revenue by increasing the frequency at which those people are going to come get our services. And we drive revenue by getting those people to spend more money while they're with us. And as a marketer, those are the three places I'm constantly looking at to improve. And that's what I would encourage franchisees as well as corporate teams as your KPIs. How many new guests did you bring to the table? What is your frequency number and how are you going to improve it? And how are you improving your average check? That's what drives revenue. And it's pretty basic, but I think starting there, and then what we can do at the enterprise level, and I think one of the benefits of being part of a franchise system is that you have multiple places where you're seeing trends, you're seeing what works and doesn't work from a macro level. You can then take those what works and doesn't work into the micro level at the locations. And so what we're doing right now to set that up is specifically in the advertising space, developing out media dashboards so that we can have a clear vision of how is our media performing and how is it driving revenue into our centers. And then in addition to that, we're building out those kind of business metric KPIs that we want our franchisees to have top of mind. We really want to bring a discipline of data to our franchisees so that they are maximizing the profitability that they're driving to their bottom line.
Yeah, and I love that especially because you're focused on the right things, your business KPIs. Like, yes, marketing fuels into it, but that is not the end all be all when it comes to our jobs. Like, they need to understand their business and how marketing is the piece of it. I was just talking to David Smith of Go Minis, and he was like, can we please kill talking about CPL? I was like, amen. That cannot be our end all be all, people. There's a whole wide world out there.
Yeah, look, I think that we're in the thick of that as well. And in this space specifically, digital media continues to be the most efficient and most approachable way to get in front of people. The problem is we're all there. And so as you add more and more saturation into your industry, it becomes harder and harder to really create the efficiencies that you're used to. And what never in the 10 or 15 years I've been working in digital media, what never changes is that digital media is always the most efficient way to get to your end user. But that efficiency has eroded over time. And so we get frustrated as marketers, as business owners, when we have to pay more to get to those leads. And so that's where the focus of CPLs comes in. And I appreciate it and I understand why it's there. When we don't think about what happens down funnel, when we don't think about, okay, our CPLs are here, but where is our conversion rate? Our CPLs are here, but where's our cost per acquisition? If we can't get to those numbers, we could have $10 CPLs and not be getting any business through the door.
Yeah.
And so it's a balance. And I think that what I try and find is the benchmark. Is okay, what is our benchmark for CPL that it demonstrates that this is a healthy campaign? And then how are those down funnel metrics being measured and how are they performing and are you benchmarked there, right? And so I think that CPLs are definitely a tool to understand the health of your campaign, but they can't be looked at in a vacuum. They really need to be looked at in combination with your conversion rates, in combination with your cost per acquisition, in order to truly understand what is the value of your marketing. And if your cost per acquisition is going up, is that due to your industry, a competitor comes down the street and now you're bidding on the same things? Is it due to the seasonality of your business? You got to figure out, okay, if that cost per acquisition is going up, is it something that I can control or not? And if it's not something that you can control, then you go through the strategy process of, okay, I can't control that this CPA is going up. For example, a great example is weight loss in our industry. Semaglutides and the weight loss activation that we've had since the invention of these GLP-1 medicines has been incredible. And with that, we've added a lot of business to our services, because from the wellness side of things, to live longer and to live longer in a quality way, we do have to tackle the obesity problem in this country. And so semaglutides is a great example of a product that, we were able to drive low CPLs and a lot of business on the onset. Now, the life cycle of that product is now at a point of saturation, and so that our CPLs are now double or triple what they were 2 or 3 years ago. We can't control that, right? We can't control that the semaglutide product curve is where it is. But what we can control is, okay, now that I know the CPA is high for semaglutides, what are some ways for me to figure out how to lower it? Brand awareness is the number one way to lower your CPA, CPLs and in digital media. So what are some brand awareness tactics that we're working on to then try and drive those CPAs down? So that was a very simple product example of why CPLs could go up that's outside of your control, and then how to strategize on bringing them down.
Yeah, I love that example. And it also fuels into your original initiative of the message, content, like what product or service line then, like knowing yourself and your own differentiator in the space. If you have a ton of competitors over here, how do you mark out your niche? And so how do you guys approach your own differentiator given the competitive nature, the increase in people you're seeing as competitors out there and all that jazz?
Yeah, and I love that you circled back to this, because I think that we do obsess over CPLs. We do obsess over, I'm putting this many dollars in and I'm getting this many dollars out. And when we talk about branding and we talk about messaging, that branding and messaging is not going into transactional media. And so it's very hard for finance-driven or operations-driven individuals to understand the value of that brand awareness or that brand development proposition. And so a lot of the work that marketers do is try and educate our bosses and our peers and our franchisees on, when we invest in brand, we will drive costs down and ultimately get either more patients through your door that then drives to your bottom line, or decrease the amount of spend that you're having to do on marketing, because we've created such a knowable, likable, trustable brand that it only takes me 2 times to talk to a potential patient versus 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
If we're just looking and sounding the same. And I think that I'm very grateful at Forever Young, we are all in agreement that the brand development, the brand messaging piece of this is a huge priority for us this year, so that we can maintain our authority and leadership in the space. And in that, the brand for Forever Young is incredibly strong. We have a strong identity. We have some amazing, awesome standout logo. We have a standout signature color in green, but we need to dive deeper so that we are not only saying, hey, look, we're a cool brand with these cool marks, but we are delivering something that you need and you can trust us to do it. And so what we'll be doing is really diving into that positioning and how are we positioned in the market in an ownable, differentiated way. One of the interesting things about this space is that we are selling commodities. We are selling the same products that everyone else is selling out there. But how are we doing it differently, to your point? For us, it's the fact that we're a one-stop shop. You can come to us for all of your anti-aging needs and really tackle things under one roof. That's a huge differentiator for us. The other differentiator for us is, of course, in the level of providers and the level of expertise that we attract into our centers because of who we are as a brand and how people perceive us. And so our providers and the folks that are working with our patients through their anti-aging needs and wants are the cream of the crop. And so those are some of the ways that we stand out, but we need to tell that story so that people know that's how we stand out.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what we'll be working on this year.
Nice. And yeah, how do you guys, one thing I've been thinking about is how you approach your product and service offering where you don't go a mile wide and an inch deep. You stay focused on your core, but you still have the right types of product and service varieties. And for example, one book I just read was The Messy Truth by Allie Webb, the co-founder of Drybar, and everyone wanted her to add nails to do that while they were getting your hair blow dried. And she was like, nope, like we are not doing that. We are staying focused on one thing and that's it. But then when you have something like your guys' brand, I am literally your target market. And I'm like, that sounds heavenly. I would not want to I have no time. There's no way I'm going to two different places for two different things. So how do you guys approach that? And that maybe using data to inform the right approach, but how do you think about that?
Well, that was really having a diversified product set and offering in a focused way was really very attractive to me when I was coming on board to Forever Young. And what that means is Forever Young, we are your anti-aging destination. That's very clear. That's very focused. We are going to be doing the things that help you be the best version of yourself no matter what age you are. I think if you were into the longevity side of things, you hear a lot about, yes, we want to extend life, but really what we're trying to do is extend the zest of life further, so that when you are 70 and 80, you're not invalid, you are out there enjoying your life still. And that's really what we're focused on. And that's a very clear focus. But within that focus, we have a very broad range of products and services that we can offer. And as a marketer, that's both very exciting because the sky's the limit as far as how do we deliver this anti-aging experience to our patients. But it can also be a con in the fact that you really do have to take a number of different services and try and distill it down into one marketing message. And that can be a challenge. And it's especially a challenge for small business owners who are, or at least in my opinion, who are coming into the space and want to talk about one thing to each patient. This guy really needs Botox. This gal really needs semaglutide. And for us, it's okay, yes, they may need that one product right now, but we really need to talk to them about why Forever Young is their destination for all of their needs, not just for this one. And it's a combination of, again, back to that brand awareness. How do we create brand awareness around our focused message and then create transactional opportunities around the specific products and services? I think for me, I am also of the opinion that you need to have a very clear vision. You need to have a very clear, what are we offering to our people and how do we do it and do it well? But I'm also excited to be part of a team or a brand that is offering multiple different ways to reach the same result.
Yeah, especially with health, because health is a journey. It's not I checked that box in January and called it good.
No, it definitely is a journey. And everybody has different seasons on where they are in their journey. And so it's exciting to be able to help them get to that best place, whatever best means for them.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, what's your guys' most popular, if there's a health journey for me in 2025, what's like the most popular services that you guys provide that I could take advantage of?
Look, when you come into Forever Young, you're really getting a customized plan to you. And so how we start that is with personalized results. We do a blood work, we do a physical.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
To know you. Yeah. Once you finish your kind of introductory lab work and the get to know you part, we can then sit down with you and say, okay, based on your body, this is what you need to be optimal. And so we talk about what vitamins you may be deficient in. We talk about what hormones you may be deficient in. We talk about each kind of panel that we look at has specifics on, if you do this, then this could help. And so the services that we have to offer range from hormone replacement therapy, medical weight loss, vitamin infusions, as well as vitamin supplements. And with all of that at our fingertips, we can really develop what a customized plan is for you. Typically, your customized plan is going to include some vitamin supplements or supplements with our IV lounge, and either a path down HRT or a path down the GLP-1 medical weight loss program. And so on the wellness side, we really customize your journey to what your body is telling us. It's not a one size fits all. And it's similar on the aesthetic side of things. When you come to us we're not necessarily always listening to you I want 20 units of Botox in my forehead. We're sitting down and we're saying, okay, I understand that you want 20 units of Botox in your forehead, but let's talk about what look are you trying to achieve, and what do we need to do to get you there? And it's often not, okay, we're all going to do this all in one appointment, because like you said, it is a journey. And so you'll talk to our injectors about what injectables make sense for you. You'll talk to our estheticians about, okay, between your injectables, which Tox allows us to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, filler allows us to replace some of the volume that you might have lost in your face as you age. But in between those kind of replacement techniques, we have a number of different facial services to get you to your next appointment. So we have our hydrofacial, we have our microneedling, that is all geared towards allowing your face to be as bright and wonderful as you want it. And in addition to that, we have skincare products that you use while you're at home. It's not a one and done experience with Forever Young. We're really creating a customized plan for you so that we can help you, again, achieve whatever best means to you. And it's a journey that we're on with you. We go as fast as you want to go, and a lot of our patients will come in and really take it step by step. So that journey is the whole year, and then at the end of that year, you have, okay, this is where I started, this is where I'm ending, and how do I maintain it?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's everything that you would hope that your doctor could provide you that they never do. That's like what I think of, oh, if I had a great doctor, they would help me like with this roadmap into how I want to look and feel for life.
Right.
But that is like,
as you age.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our healthcare system is so reactive.
Yeah,
we react when somebody
exactly.
doesn't feel well versus trying to take someone that may not think that they don't feel well and get them into a better state.
Yeah, exactly. What's interesting about the product thing you mentioned too, are having skincare products. The Dry Bar, when they sold, I forget what year it was, but they actually sold the product line of the business, not the service side, for $250 million.
Wow, that's great.
Product lines can go well.
Yeah, for sure.
So what else is working for you guys in terms of digital marketing right now too, whether it's, influencer marketing, memberships, referral marketing? What kind of stuff are you seeing also work on top of that?
So we talk a lot to our franchisees about the different ways lead generation is going to happen. And the biggest dollar price tag that comes with that is your digital media. But you don't really, and so we spend a lot of time talking about it. For us, what we're working on is how are we A/B testing our creative to make sure that we are busting through the clutter of advertising on Meta and search. Search, you don't necessarily have to bust through the clutter. It's more of a being at the right place at the right time. But on Meta, how are we busting through the clutter of advertising that you see? And so it's a lot of A/B testing, it's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of, we have to keep it fresh and relevant. And so I think creative is a big part of that, in addition to fine-tuning strategy. And one of the things that we know is that every market is a little bit different when it comes to that meta strategy. And so really working with our partners to make sure that we are customizing solutions for our franchisees in that digital media space. However, yes, that has the biggest price tag. It's the biggest check that you write per se on the marketing side of things. But your conversions on digital media are just so low compared to what you can get from a conversion from a walk-in, from what we call organic leads. And so in our organic lead pile, we have the brand awareness, the folks who know about you because they have seen you around in the community through your local center marketing efforts, as well as people who are searching for you and find you and get that trust factor added in because of all the reviews that you have. And then referrals, of course, are the best. Word of mouth will always be the best form of marketing. And if you think about the services that we have, you really do want some validation from somebody that you know and trust.
Yeah, that's social proof.
Center. Yeah, and we have our digital paid media strategy, and then we have our organic strategy, which doesn't come with a big check at the end of the month, but it does come with a lot of time investment needed. You really need to nurture the patients so that they are advocates for you, and then you need to nurture the community so that once they're ready to take action on your services, you are top of mind. And so that's a lot of the time that we spend with our franchisees, really coaching them on how to be top of mind, how to drive more organic business, because on the paid ad side of things, the more organic business that you can drive, the more successful your paid media campaigns will be, as well as getting to that all-important lowest CPL of the system, lowest CPA of the system. And that's really how we look at it. In that digital media space, though, I also wanted to mention we're looking at what are some alternatives to Meta and search. We can get stuck, I think, as business owners on one channel, because that, again, Meta they are just the most efficient. They're going to always be the most efficient. And so you feel like you have to pour all of your dollars there. We're also introducing some of those brand awareness channels. So things like TV and email and direct mail and podcasting. And so how do we add on those brand awareness layers that then help drive the efficiencies of your digital media while helping the franchisees feel like it's a valid investment? And so we are looking at those alternative media pieces to bring to the table so that our franchisees have options when it's time to invest more in marketing. They don't have to only invest in Meta or search.
Which is so good, because it gets back to just meet your customer where they are. Forget about the channel. You're just trying to get in front of your customer at the right time with the right message. And if they're watching a ton of TV in their living room, like, why isn't CTV being a consideration, or whatever the new platform or channel is?
Yeah, I think we get stuck. I think we see $1 in, $2 out on Meta, and we're like, okay, Meta works. Let me keep putting dollars in there. Meta works because, yes, you're meeting your people where they are, but also because you already have some level of brand awareness. And so if you're only going on Meta with no brand awareness, it's going to be a harder slog to get those people to take action. And so I think from a business owner, as a consumer, we understand that we don't take action on an ad just because we saw it once. But as a business owner, when you see, oh, they clicked on it and they became a patient, it's hard to understand. They've already seen the ad 5 to 7 times, or they saw you at the festival, they saw you on their CTV, and then they saw the ad. It's hard to remember that you invested already so much into that patient. It wasn't just the CPL of it. So I do think it's hard sometimes to wrap your head around that.
Yeah, yep. So going back to the beginning of your career, Smoothie King, literally one of my favorite franchises in terms of their actual product. I go there probably once a week. So I'm curious, just in general, you have a ton of franchising experience. So are there any lessons learned throughout your previous years or stories that you always bring to your current role and really stick with you as a journey you've learned throughout your franchise career?
For sure. Smoothie King is a terrific brand. I am a huge brand fan like you. They consistently put out awesome products that taste delicious. And I grew so much in my time there. It was an awesome opportunity for me and an awesome time in that brand's life cycle. And so, yeah, I think there's a couple of things that I take from that experience that because of that experience, I am a better marketer. And I think the first and foremost one is that data-driven point of view. I was challenged in that position from my bosses and leadership to always back up, why are we doing something? And is this going to resonate? And so I learned a lot from the folks that are above me around how do I look at data and tell a story? And how do I find data even though it's not obvious to me? And figuring out how to be scrappy in understanding the consumer and understanding what the numbers are telling you was an awesome kind of experience for me there. That's really where I learned it. And it's something that I've brought to every position. And even now when I am talking to marketers coming up in whatever industry, the first thing I tell them is know your numbers. If you want a seat at the table, understanding revenue and understanding how your actions impact revenue and being able to back that up with numbers is how you keep that seat at the table. And really understanding numbers and how they work for marketers was the biggest lesson that I learned at Smoothie King that I continue to carry on in my experiences. I think the other really is the power of brand. We took a brand that was sending in their advertising fund, they were sending 12 mailers a year, and that was their marketing strategy. And it was a very discount driven, price driven strategy. And we successfully converted that discount price strategy into a product strategy that allowed us to charge more for what we were doing, again, driving profitability to the bottom line, as well as change our perception in the market from Smoothie King, not necessarily cream of the crop top positioning, to what it is today, which is a powerhouse brand that really does embody their mission in a way that I think probably was hard to imagine when the team first started working on it. And learning how and the pain points that come with moving from discount price promotion to a bigger kind of brand first strategy was also something that I learned from that experience that we carry through. Look, discounts and promotions have their place, but understanding what place they have and what the impact is to the business, I think, is an invaluable tool.
Yeah. So how did you guys do that? Did you basically just revamp the menu lineup and start the hard work on working on the product, or like how did you guys make that happen?
Yeah, it really was through what we call a new news strategy. And so bringing products to the forefront, and instead of promoting, come and get your smoothie for 50% off or come and get a BOGO smoothie, we were promoting the veggie smoothie. We were promoting the Greek yogurt smoothie. And so replacing that promotional messaging with a non-price promotional messaging, and one that resonates with the guest, right? Like you can do that only so far. You really have to be delivering something new and innovative to the guests to get them back in the door. But that's how we did it. And look, I think that the biggest advantage that Smoothie King had when I was there was that they had 500 locations when I started with them, and they had already developed regional funds. And because of the proximity of and saturation of the number of locations that you can have in a market in fast food, we were able to pool the dollars of our franchisees together to then not only have a new product launch, but have a new product launch successfully with strong marketing channel support behind it. And that is something that after I left Smoothie King, I left to go to brands that didn't have the same amount of budget or the same amount of dollars available to the marketing team as we had at Smoothie King. And so really understanding how does market saturation and those pooling of dollars really benefit the brand. And it really shaped the way that I thought about brand budgeting at the brand fund level. And what is the purpose of that brand fund? And how do I make it work the hardest for our franchisees? And so with Smoothie King, a lot of the dollars that were being spent in media were being spent at that regional fund level. And so at the brand fund level, we were able to do more brand building activities. We did partnerships with different athletes. We did a lot of the promotional pieces of the products we were able to send out through the brand fund so that folks had to put them up. It wasn't optional as far as if they wanted to buy the promotional materials or not. And so when I went to Painting with a Twist, which was a smaller footprint with smaller AUVs, I really had to be strategic around, okay, how are we leveraging the brand fund here? And what was awesome about Painting with a Twist was that their franchisees were incredibly engaged and they were already spending in their local markets. And so while I didn't have the regional fund spends to leverage, I did have that local market spend to leverage. And so what we did was we said, okay, what are the franchisees spending on marketing that we can then pull up into the brand fund in order for them to spend more dollars on media and getting that message out and feeling like a national brand when we didn't have the budget to have a national advertising strategy.
That's smart.
So a lot of our franchisees were using their own email systems, they were using their own media buying systems, and we systemized that and we pulled it up into the brand fund to say, okay, I'm going to try and take all of the dollars that you spend on marketing that are not on media and cover those services in the brand fund. And so we launched an email program, we launched a media buying program, we launched a creative digital asset management system, so that all of that was built in the brand fund so that all of the dollars they were spending could be spent on media, which then increased awareness, which then increased the number of people who are aware of the brand and open to coming in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love those examples. And I know we're coming up on time, so I do have one last question that I'm asking everyone is which AI tools are your favorite right now? We know there's a lot of generic ones out there for content production, but there's just a million and one. So I'm curious if there's any specifically that you love or your team's using and you love.
There are a ton out there, and I am not on the cutting edge as far as learning all of them and learning how to implement them. But I will say, I use ChatGPT every day. And I do think that the thing that we need to be aware of as marketers is that the AI searching through these search bars is a real thing, and we've got to be prepared for it. And I do it. My question every time I go to my Google search bar, and because I love Google too, and search for something, I think, okay, would AI answer this, or would ChatGPT answer this better? What's the better tool to use? And I constantly use ChatGPT for copy development as well as brainstorming, coming up with new ideas. I don't have a lot of thinking time. All of us are so busy and just bombarded with tasks.
Yeah.
Really, I find ChatGPT helps me with cut shorting the thinking time and helping me jumpstart. Okay, I need to brainstorm on this. Give me some jumpstart ideas so that I can get off to the races. But I will say that I was turned on to another tool called Claude, and I used it for a project that ChatGPT wasn't going to be able to do. I uploaded pictures to it, and they were able to spit out the result of those pictures. And it was a really great experience, but I only used it for that one project. So that's my other plug.
Cool. I'll have to check that one out. And then the other one I've been checking is Perplexity. So just seeing the difference between the results and then also cross-checking the results to see, okay, was ChatGPT accurate? Was Perplexity accurate?
Right.
Get that A/B testing of which different tools are on top of it these days.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm a little bit worried that the segmentation in AI, I would like an all-in-one tool, is what I'm saying. So
yeah.
Whatever can do the most for me is the best investment, because I don't really want to get into the streaming wars where you have to sign up for every single AI tool to get this one task done.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes, but I tend to lean on ChatGPT because that's the one that I'm most familiar with.
Yeah. Awesome. Katherine, thank you so much for coming on, and thank for listeners for listening in today. This was another great episode of the Art of Franchise Marketing podcast. Katherine, thank you for joining.
It was great to see you today.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Franchise Marketing. This show is brought to you by NetSertive. We help franchise brands and multi-location businesses run localized digital marketing at scale. To learn more, visit netsertive.com.